The Prophet ﷺ himself, he says in the famous narration, إِذَا قَالَ الرَّجُلُ هَلَكَ النَّاسُ فَهُوَ أَهْلَكُهُمْ أَوْ فَهُوَ أَهْلَكَهُمْ. The Prophet ﷺ says, if a man says, people are destroyed, right? People are in destruction. هَلَكَ النَّاسِ. They have perished. The Messenger of God ﷺ says, when a person says that, فَهُوَ أَهْلَكُهُمْ أَوْ فَهُوَ أَهْلَكَهُمْ. Two narrations. One narration is فَهُوَ أَهْلَكُهُمْ, right? That he is the most destructed of amongst them, right? By the virtue of him saying that, as Imam al-Nawawi explains in Sharh Sahih Muslim, in the explanation of this narration, he says, by virtue of him dooming everybody, in fact, that person himself is the most doomed. In another narration, بالفتح فهو بالنصب فهو أهلكهم. It is he who caused them to be perished. ليس حقيقة, ليس بالحقيقة. Not in reality, like they're not perished in reality, but his thoughts, his perception are powerful enough that he will see any signs of them being perished or destroyed or a hopeless case, right? He will see any signs of that every time he looks at them because of his thought process, his belief, right? You know, when you reflect on the Messenger of God sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the more you reflect on the Messenger of God sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam, you cannot help except at arriving at this conclusion is that the Messenger of God sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a very radically positive individual. He was extremely positive, and he had this good opinion and belief about the outcome of things. That's how he was, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He always pointed out the good things. You know? I mean, think about it. When he go visit a sick person, he would go tell them, لا بأس طهور إن شاء الله. No matter how grave the illness was, he would tell them, no problem, no worries. لا بأس طهور إن شاء الله. Inshallah, this will be a purity for you, right? Because even if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not give shifa, it is still a purity. He sees, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the positivity in things. He, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, says in a hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, he says, لا عدوى ولا طيرة ويعجبني الفأل الصالح الكلمة الطيبة. He says, there is no contagion. What that means is when a sickness and illness spread, that illness doesn't spread because of the qualities of the disease itself. It spreads because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows it to spread. Meaning things in of themselves, sicknesses, trials, tribulations, difficulties in of themselves don't have any power to spread, to cause these problems. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants it as such. You know, He wills it. He wills it to be. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, there is no contagion without the will of God. وَلَا طِيَرَةً. And bad omens are not a thing. Bad omens are not really a thing. That's what tiyara is. But rather, the Messenger of God sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, but I love, yu'jibuni, it pleases me. What pleases me is al-fa'lu salih, is good, being pleasantly optimistic. Al-kalimatu tayyiba, to share a good word, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He would do this all the time, just reflect on his seerah. And the more you reflect on our tradition Islamically, you see the criticality of this. You know, this idea of husn al-Dhann, as we've loosely been translating it to mean having good opinion of others or having good thoughts. Dhann, the word dhann, when you study logic, generally means like probabilistic belief. You see what I'm saying? You know, it could go either way. And there's like a percentage grade. You know, when you say غَلَبَةُ الظَّنِّ, like a preponderance of doubt, that's like 75% plus. You know, you're pretty sure, but you're not certain. However, the word dhann, as with many words in the Arabic language, can mean something and its opposite. So dhann here actually means certainty. So when we say husn al-dhann, really a more appropriate understanding of it, when we say husn al-dhann billah as an example, having good thoughts of Allah, a more appropriate, and this is my own translation, I could be very wrong on this, so please forgive me, but a more appropriate way to understand it is to have radically certain belief about that thing. That's what Husn al-Dhann means, right? It's to be radically certain and positive about the outcomes of things, or about the qualities of the individual, such as having Husn al-Dhann billah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is to be radically certain about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's qualities and about his actions subhanahu wa ta'ala.